With his attorney in tow, I am told that Rudy Giuliani traveled to Mar-a-Lago in late April on a mission to make a personal appeal to Trump to pay his legal bills. By going in person, Giuliani and that lawyer, Robert Costello, believed that they could help explain face-to-face why Trump needed to assist his attorney with those ballooning legal bills.
Sad. So sad. So Rudy Giuliani, like many Trump cronies before him, has asked his former boss for a little help after many dedicated years of service. Now, Trump doesn't like to pay his bills. He doesn't like to even pay his own attorneys. In this case, though, truly shocking twist. Apparently, Trump did help him out a little bit. Let's watch.
But apparently, it fell on deaf ears. Trump is notoriously strict about digging into his own coffers. He did not seem very interested, I'm told, in covering everything that Giuliani and Costello wanted. One source says that he verbally agreed to help, but he didn't commit to any specific amount or timeline. Another source tells me that Trump really only agreed to pay a small fee from a data vendor that was hosting Giuliani's records. I'm told that was about $340,000, while in total, Giuliani's legal fees are in the 7-figure range.
So Trump did pay the $340,000 months after Giuliani's plea. Trump's Save America PAC paid $340,000 to that vendor. Trust Point, federal campaign filing show. CNN has now confirmed the payment was intended to settle Giuliani's outstanding bill with the company. And that is surprising because, again, Trump is known for failing to pay his own legal fees and bills.
But guys, don't get it twisted because that sounds like a lot of money to you and me. But Giuliani's bills are in the millions. And so now he's worried that he's going to go bankrupt. And so Giuliani, well, to be fair, we don't know that Giuliani's considering this, but others like John Dean, who was part of the Nixon White House, is saying that he is likely considering personal bankruptcy, and then he might have to get a court-appointed lawyer. That's the kind of terrible shape that Giuliani's in. Now, let's go to the most important part of this story. I mean, it's wonderfully humiliating for Giuliani and having to go grovel to Trump, and Trump gives us a tiny fraction of what he needs to set up, but that's not the important part. The important part is, as usual, an enormously dumb strategy by Donald Trump. Giuliani knows everything. You moron, you have hundreds of millions in that account that you got for your legal defense from MAGA guys, right? This is the best investment you can make is to pay for Giuliani's lawyers.
Listen, these are the right kind of hush money payments if you get my drift, right?
Yeah, and that's legal. There's no reason why you can't make that payment. And he's nuts not to pay for Giuliani's lawyers because it leaves Giuliani with only one choice. Oh, guys, look here, one more thing as to why I want you to understand why Giuliani is gonna have no choice but to flip on him. Because if he's broke and he's got a court-appointed lawyer and he's indicted in Georgia, he cannot be pardoned even if Trump wins. And he's not Trump. He's more like the January 6th guys. Nobody's gonna come to his rescue. So he's going to have to go to prison and spend his last days because he knows how guilty he is. He knows that they invented it. He's the guy that in open court said, no, we don't have the evidence, right? So he's going to spend his last days in a prison in Georgia. That's the only option that Trump is leaving open for him. It's a disastrous idea by Trump, thank God. And it gives Rudy every incentive to flip on Trump.
In fact, I want to go to the very last video here because in this video you have John Dean, the former White House counsel to the president Richard Nixon, kind of warning about what you're referring to. Let's watch.
Does he represent himself? I mean, what options does Rudy Giuliani have at that point?
Well, he can get a court-appointed lawyer at some stage. Representing yourself is the worst option because anyone who represents himself is likely to make bad decisions about that representation. I think Rudy is likely to go into Chapter 11 or bankruptcy of some sort. I understand his apartment is on the market. It could raise several $1 million. But he probably has a lot of debt he has to handle immediately as well. So I think bankruptcy is a potential and maybe a court-appointed attorney.
He's not gonna want those things. He's not gonna want a court-appointed attorney, especially in a case where he could not be pardoned even if Trump won the election.
Yeah, there's no end to Trump's greed, and it could be his undoing. I mean, there's a couple of different ways that he could lose the Republican primary, and this is one of the two major ways. The other major way I explained earlier is that he just threatens significant violence in public and everyone can hear him. And the other way is to have Rudy Giuliani and all of his top aides turn on him because he's throwing them under a bus as he's about to go to court and they could be witnesses against him. Donald Trump's lack of intelligence is unparalleled. I've never seen it in public, let alone in politics before in my life. And this is a spectacular example of it. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.